welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that is perfectly balanced as all things should be. My name is Jarret, and I'm your host for today. Normally, you would expect the sweet and sultry tones of Isaac Edlund, or maybe the bullhorn that is Max Mosier, but no, you got me today. And joining me today, we have two Infinity Bros. Say hello to the fans at home, Mark Jones.
Glad to be back to tickle the ears of the Infinity Bros universe, as I often do.
Yeah, we're ready to be tickled.
Glad to be here.
I do love getting tickled.
You heard his voice because he loves speaking out of turn, and we love him. It is Robbie Sauter.
That's both accurate and slightly hurtful.
It's okay.
I'm happy to be here. Before Mark gets a chance to do it, I want to give a big shout out to my beautiful wife Jessica for allowing me to record podcast and play video games and watch premiere episodes of shows that we both enjoy.
And I want to give a bigger shout out to my even more beautiful wife, Kelly, for just being awesome and just everything, every way. She's loved my life.
Are we doing this? Is it okay? I want to give a shout out to my incredible wife, Christian, who is more beautiful than all of them combined.
Wow.
And since I went last, obviously you guys can't refute that. So we have a pretty full schedule for tonight. I was looking at it. We were going to talk about Hawkeye and the special premiere that Robbie got of Witcher Season 2. But I think this episode, we're just going to talk about our wives and compete for an hour and a half. And I'm sure people would love to hear that.
It's going to be Zane's favorite episode.
Absolutely. Zane can tell us all about his wife. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time the three of us have been on together without all six?
I believe I pointed that out in our group chat that I think this is the most unique lineup that we've ever had.
This is a momentous occasion.
It is like
this can be confirmed.
Like what would be what's a worse lineup?
Replacing any of us is a worse lineup.
Obviously.
Yeah. So this is arguably the best. Speaking of the best of the Infinity Bros, we have our 100th episode coming up. If you're catching this before January 2nd, join us for our special 100th anniversary episode. It will be January 2nd at 8 p.m. Central on our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/ the Infinity _ Bros. Gosh, we gotta fix that. We have gotta lock that down. Join us there. Be there. Be square. We're gonna do some fun stuff with the live chat. Who knows what we'll be talking about at that time? Probably more No Way Home stuff, even though that'll be a couple weeks past that point. I just feel like No Way Home is gonna shake everything up for a while. We might be playing some games. We probably will just be talking with our crowd. So if you're a fan at all,
will we be doing our Stan Lees for that episode?
Are we? Is that what we're doing?
This
is why you need Max or Isaac in charge, because they know what's going on.
I'm just going to put it out into the ether.
We are doing our Stan Lees.
Yeah, for that episode.
Hey guys, guess what?
It's not only our 100th episode, it's also the end of the year / beginning of the year episode where we do our recap of the previous year. You know, I know how much Jarret wants to forget about the Stan Lees with his take about,
my fantastic
Thor's Dark World.
Thor the Dark World. Arguably some of the best VFX in the MCU, but that's not a hill.
No one's arguing besides you, though.
Yeah, right. We did have something special come up this week. Before we get into this special announcement, though, I'd like to plug our rating system right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
All right, so I actually got an opportunity to preview Season 2 of The Witcher, but due to prior engagements, I shipped that off to probably the biggest fan of The Witcher, at least on this podcast, good old Robbie Sauter, who is dressed for the occasion today. Robbie, you want to give us a quick recap of what happened? Like, what is this event that you attended? How did it go?
So it was a Netflix online premiere event, as obviously Jarret knows. But we got to go in. They showed a bunch of pictures, and then you had to sit there for like 25 minutes as they waited for everyone to get in, and they just wanted you to ask as many questions as possible in the little chat area on the side. So people were just asking questions, and they were saying that we're going to answer some of those questions at the end of the season premiere. The cool thing is that at the end of season premiere, you got to ask those questions to none other than Superman himself, Henry Cavill, who is just such a ridiculously good looking man. Just why I want to give that big shout out to my wife is just, so I told her I was going to be on this, and she was mad at me, not because I was like leaving her with the kids, but because I was going to get to watch a video with Henry Cavill in it. And I think that's what she was more upset about. The episode was fantastic. Jumped you right back into the Witcher world. Got to see a few monsters, a few really good stories, tied you back in, and really encapsulated what happened in season 1. And you pick off right where you left off in season 1, and you're freaking Geralt, and it's beautiful. It was so good. I'm so excited for it. It comes out the 17th, so it's just a few days. So it's just a few day early premiere, but exciting nonetheless for us to get the opportunity to check that out.
I'm obviously insanely jealous that I didn't get to see it, and my wife is insanely jealous that she didn't get to see it because she's also a fan of.
Didn't get to see it.
Henry Cavill. Why?
I'm such a big. I'm like. So I finally got into The Witcher 3 a few years ago and played through it and put all the hours in. And I was like, okay, I love this. Then The Witcher show came out, and I watched that. I was like, okay, I really love this. Then I started listening to like 4 or 5 of the audio books, and it's like I'm all in just on The Witcher lore.
Yeah, you were definitely the right pick for this one. For me, it was less about. I love The Witcher, but I'm not on your level. I just wanted to talk to Henry Cavill and ask him if he would play Warhammer with me in D&D. But yeah, you were obviously the right pick for this one.
Funny thing there, he had to stop himself from going too fangirl on the bit in the questions, because he just started rambling off about Warhammer and a bunch of that kind of stuff, because that's all that a guy does.
He's such a nerd.
Yeah, his biggest thing after season 1 of The Witcher was just reading fan forums about what they did in The Witcher. That was his number one thing, and he mentioned that 20 times. So the dude is just a fan of all the things that you're a fan of. He just looks like a Greek god, and you don't.
Yeah, he's a million times better looking at it. Yeah.
Anyone who is listening to this, Henry Cavill looks better than you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
That's not an argument. That's a fact. So
Mark has
us in the Infinity Bros, we've talked about The Witcher, obviously at length, and if you want to go back and catch those episodes, you really should. But just to give us a quick refresher, Mark, what was your rating of season 1 of The Witcher?
Jeez, I don't even remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So you just give it a 6 and you move on.
I was gonna say I probably gave it a 6 because Henry Cavill was in it, and yeah. Anyways, moving on.
All right,
I give a point to The Witcher.
Robbie, anything to add to that? I assume you also gave it a 6.
I believe I gave it a 6. If people remember, season 1 had basically 2 storylines that kind of converged at the end, and you had a past and a future storyline. And a lot of people were very confused and kind of frustrated with it. To my understanding, and I checked out J-Buck's live TikTok stream earlier, and he was talking that he actually got to watch the first 3 episodes a week ago of The Witcher, and said that the storyline is much more linear. So we got 3 days head start and got 1 episode. J-Buck's so big that he got 3 episodes and a week and a half head start. So we're
Must
not
be
quite
hard
J-Buck,
being so successful. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Season 1 was fantastic. I think the only critique that anyone gave was it was a little hard to follow the time jumps. And the fact that they fixed that going forward means that they're paying attention to their fans and what they want. Or maybe it's just happy coincidence that they fixed it in writing. But yeah, man, I'm excited. What did they say? The 17th it comes out officially on Netflix?
Yep, the 17th.
So we're ready to roll on this. In fact, by the time this is out and into the world, that might be already something that's streaming. So go check that out. Sounds fantastic. I'm sure the interview is up somewhere from your guys' questions that you asked at the Netflix premiere. Absolutely incredible. In fact, he was on the Graham Norton show and talking about some of his fandom. and I know at least Twitter kind of blew up about this, and I believe TikTok as well, where he was talking about Warhammer, and Graham Norton and the other people on that episode with him were kind of making fun of him. But he is so into this stuff, Henry Cavill, and it's why us as the Infinity Bros and the fans at large have been demanding more from him. We'd like to see a Man of Steel 2. We'd love to see him in the MCU in some fashion. So I'm going to pitch this one to you guys just real quick before we move on to Hawkeye. If you could bring Henry Cavill into any other role, MCU or anything else even, people have mentioned James Bond, what would that be, starting with you, Robbie?
Ooh, any other role that he hasn't already been? Because he's a really good Superman. I think he'd also be a good Batman because he's doing all the brooding already in The Witcher. But you know what? Marvel probably needs their shot at him. I could go. Is it? I don't want to butcher the name. The big golden guy from. No, actually, no.
Okay.
No. Impossible. I think he could be Omni-Man.
Oh, okay. I've seen that fan
Henry
casting
Cavill
quite
as
a bit.
Omni-Man.
Yeah.
That I'd be all in on that because then he basically gets to play Superman, but like murder
But mean.
everyone.
But real
Superman.
mean. That's wild.
So so then he would actually get to mix a little bit of his Geralt of Rivia and his Superman, and just mix it into one BA character. That's my pick, Omni-Man.
Mark, what about you?
My first thought that came to mind when you asked that, even though I've thought about this before, but this is totally new thought. Him coming in as Cyclops in the MCU, leading the X-Men. Because I think if you're going to bring Henry Cavill in the MCU and he's going to be a good guy, you have to have him be like a leader of a group.
I love that, and I also hate it just because I hate Cyclops.
Yeah, everyone gives Cyclops hate, and like when all of you guys talk bad about him in the group chat, I have to like be like silent and just watch, like as a watcher, as you like rip him apart, and I'm just like, that's one of the guys I liked growing up.
That's because there's nothing to defend. What are you going to defend?
I don't want to get you guys mad because then I start making fun of you guys.
I will say I love.
I attack you because I don't have anything to fight with.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got laser eyes. But they're not lasers.
He's got laser eyes. Does Cyclops? Okay. We don't have a lot of time, but we can get in the weeds on this.
Yeah.
What other abilities does Cyclops have?
Like all mutants, he has like enhanced durability.
Yeah, and like strength and
sure,
stuff like
but
that.
it really is just like the kinetic blasts.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, they're not lasers. He can't cut stuff with them. They're just like punch really hard.
Yeah. It's like Kamehameha blasts, basically. But like that's the
like
thing. It's like he also can't
Goku.
Control it without the goggles or the eyepiece.
Yeah, like
that's the other thing. Like his brother can control his kinetic stuff.
Cyclops is like maybe one of the worst superheroes that's popular. I'm just gonna put that out there. He's maybe one of the worst superheroes.
When you say popular. Worst, you mean like as in like power set?
As in like
power set, and then his rankability to people that like him. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, so like the people that he hangs out with, so like the X-Men core, like compare him, the Avengers core, the Justice League, like
so you say he's lesser than like Jubilee who shoots fireworks or like Beast who's just
Dazzler,
and then hit the name.
Are we I'm counting like the main, if you had to only pick like 8 out of each group, like he'd be in the top 8 for the X-Men, right?
He did just
let's riddle me this. You give Cyclops an Iron Man suit that can also
sure.
Well, now we're
use his kinetic energy.
Now
we're just doing whatever.
Well,
now it's Calvin.
I mean, Tony's nothing. Tony's really nothing without his suit.
If you talk about Tony Stark, you just take the suit away and he's nothing. So like,
well, he still doesn't have. He can't shoot beams out of his eyes without his suit. So
neither can
Cyclops, I guess.
Yeah, but at least he's interesting.
He can't control it.
He is interesting.
Yeah, Cyclops did also murder Xavier for no reason.
Yeah, well,
Who did?
Wait, what?
He murdered Charles Xavier.
That's never gonna get in a movie though.
Yeah, but know what else he's never done that Tony Stark's done? Please. Heroin.
Do we know that? Do we know that for
Isn't there a whole series? Isn't there a whole? Oh yeah, I guess with.
No, I mean about Cyclops.
Scott Summers.
Do we know that?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, I can't think of a storyline where that is.
He probably did some
Summers.
wild stuff in space with his dad and the Starjammers. I'm sure they did some heroin up there.
I don't know. Maybe. I stick by my statement. Yeah, Cyclops is garbage. One of the worst popular superheroes.
I want Henry Cavill in a 40K movie. I want him to make a 40K movie, and I want Henry Cavill as whatever the lead character is. That's what I want to see.
I don't know what that is.
Warhammer.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to assume.
I'm not that big of a geek.
Sorry, Warhammer 40K.
Goodness gracious, Jarret.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, I'm pretty sure he means a Warhammer movie, but like, I don't know if there's something like weird anime that he knows that we don't know.
I was thinking of like, is that a weird anime that I'm blanking on?
Oh my gosh. Put him. They should never do live action anime, but like him as Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. So good. Okay.
Ooh, no. Could you Henry Cavill as Nappa?
Please and thank you.
Kind of like.
But see, again, you don't want to cast him as a character that just dies.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of funny if he was Nappa and like Matt Damon was Vegeta.
Well, now I'm in.
And Matt Damon.
What if they okay?
I don't care. I think it'd be
funny.
What
if the MCU finally gets Henry Cavill, right? And then they pull like a James Gunn The Suicide Squad and he's just gone like that. Like first scene he's out.
Yeah.
Well, see, that'd be funny. Yeah, like when the Deadpool movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I think he's actually he's too big at this point. Like if you get a Henry Cavill, like that's almost like it's not quite The Rock, but he's the people love Henry Cavill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to have him be a new leader for a team.
What's the guy that I first thought of was is it Sentry? He's like Superman for
basically
Marvel.
The Superman of the MCU. Yeah.
That's what I thought. That like if Marvel were to get him, they would just put him in that role. But that's kind of like
who would
too much on the nose.
I love this though.
Yeah.
Who would play the Void? The like alter ego that lives inside of Sentry, the darkness that like he's afraid of consuming him.
Oh gosh, what's his name?
Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll.
I would love that, but also like no.
What's the guy from Serenity? The guy that passes away. What's his name? I'm blanking.
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Robbie, that's so good. Put
Alan
this man
Tudyk
in Hollywood, Robbie. That's perfect.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, but he's already played a character in the MCU.
He could be a voice.
Okay.
Wait, who did he play in the MCU?
Yeah,
he plays like the doctor that gets Steve Rogers the juice.
What
did he?
Oh, you say I'm thinking of.
No,
I'm thinking of someone. I'm thinking of Stanley Tucci. That's who I thought of right away.
Okay, yeah. I was
my goodness.
No.
Yes, Alan Tudyk would be also great, but does he do his actual voice or does he do a voiceover?
Oh gosh,
he would do
because he's also a voiceover actor. So
I think they CGI him and he does the voiceover, and maybe do like motion capture or something. I don't think they like paint him black. Gosh, we're so off the rails.
We're off the rails.
We are so far.
This was worth it. If you're sticking with us, you're like a true blue Infinity Bros fan.
Oh, yeah, continue going deep in these weeds. You cast him to do a voice role in What If, and you do like 2 more seasons with him, and then you finally bring him in as a live action as that character.
I love that so much. Or put him in the background of like Miss Marvel somewhere, and let fans go wild. Okay, moving on to Hawkeye. We're on episode 4. Have you guys been on to talk about Hawkeye yet?
This would be my first time.
Okay, Mark, hit me with your thoughts so far, spoiler free for anyone who made it this far and hasn't watched.
I'm just happy that we got a legit Christmas MCU show.
Oh, and it's so in there. It's like,
and it's
not
Christmas.
just a dab of Christmas.
Like Christmas is a character in the show. Basically.
I love it. It's so good. Absolutely.
And I also love that we're dealing with some of Hawkeye's past and some of the stuff with his wife that you kind of are thinking like, oh, she obviously knows more than what we were probably led on. So that's been interesting.
The characterization for Hawkeye in this, and obviously like they've been building up to this through Endgame, but I feel like they really, really, really are doing a good job of making him not just the boring character that everybody thought he was before this. Because like I've talked to people who are outside of the scope of the MCU, don't really care or watch these shows, and they're like, why on earth would I want to watch a Hawkeye TV series? Like that's garbage. I don't want to watch it. But those same people are also coming back and saying like, I love the characterization. I love what they're doing with this and that. Robbie, what do you think? What's your rating?
Oh, we're doing ratings. I think right now my rating's sitting at a 5. I think I'd give it. I'm really enjoying it. So at the beginning, I know Max had mentioned that he was really loving. Oh no, I was okay. I was on one. I would think I was on the first, um, episode 1 and 2 with Max and Isaac, and Max was like all in on like all the jokes or something like that, which is fine. The jokes were fine. But I was really waiting for like this episode when we got a little like darker, because Hawkeye as a character is awesome, but like this is post Ronin Hawkeye. So like this can't be all cheerful and happy. Like we got to get
He's got a tone for what he's done.
Yeah, we got to peel back those layers and talk about it a little bit. So before we even get to this next episode, that was my favorite part of this most recent episode that I can't wait to talk about. So I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. Yeah, mine is obviously a 6 out of 6, but I'm such a fangirl for this stuff that like you knew that was gonna.
It would have been pretty bad for you to not rate it a 6 out of 6.
It'd have to be like Ralph Baumert bad for me to not give it a 6.
Oh gosh. Let it go.
All right. Let's just go through this together. Off the bat, we see a pickup from where the last episode left off. You have Clint with the sword to his throat and Jack, questioning what he's doing there. I really, really, really thought this was going to lead into like a cool action sequence, and they just like deflate it the moment it happens. What did you guys think about this sort of softer open than maybe what we expected?
I totally expected. I actually loved it because I was watching with my beautiful wife Kelly, and she's like, they better not go like what they usually do and tell a little bit backstory instead of just bringing us right back into the action. I'm like, that's what they're going to do. That's what the MCU does. And that wasn't the case this time. And then we also didn't get a fight. It was just like broken up, or like not broken up, like everyone was home. So I loved it.
They were so chill about everything. Like, oh yeah, it was just an Avenger in our house. And then the conversation that they have around the table was kind of weird pacing, but I guess it kind of worked because it felt like how these conversations would actually go, as opposed to more forced dialogue.
It felt very more real than it felt scripted. Yeah. I agree. Like that's exact. And the other thing with this like opening scene, it very much made me think like they're trying to make a swerve, like that the fiance is going to be the bad guy, but I really think it's going to be the mom who ends up being the bad guy at the end of this.
Yeah, she is definitely like pulling some sort of strings here,
or it's working for Kingpin or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something going on because they keep kind of pointing us in the direction of the guy. I don't think it's the guy. Kind of like what Mark was saying.
Yeah, they're dangling that to pull the rug under us.
And maybe they're like the people are gonna think that we're trying to get him, but we're actually not. It actually is that guy. But then I don't know if that's lazy or genius, really.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that just likes swords. Okay.
And then does Hawkeye? Like I didn't like Hawkeye had to notice the sword was Ronin's.
Yeah, that's why they made did a little pause and he looked at it and everything.
And he obviously before he leaves, he ends up swiping it, so he knew that it was his. We kind of go forward from that scene where they're kind of questioning what he's doing there, and they talk about the mission that they're on together, and obviously Kate is sold out on the idea that they're a team, that they're the Hawkeye team working together. Clint wants nothing to do with it, and it sort of shows his character, especially when he's about to leave, that his concern. He's not shooting her down out of any sort of ill will towards her. It's really because he knows the cost of people being around him. And obviously, that's emphasized further down the line. We switch from this to him talking with his wife on the phone, trying to dig up some information there about what's going on behind the scenes with Jack and what's going on with the tracksuit mafia. And we get some interesting dialogue here. We see that Laura knows several languages. I don't know what language they're actually speaking in, but she also kind of alludes to the fact that there's more to her history than what we've been shown so far. What do you guys think about this, and who do you guys think she is?
I really don't know, because I don't know that much about it, nearly as much about Hawkeye as you do, Jarret. But they've done a good job at not letting her show too much.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of being like, oh, she's actually like part of this, and that's why she's like really okay with it and like totally understands. So I'll let you guys take the reins on this.
Mark, what do you think?
Go.
Yeah, I'm still up in the air. Yeah, I'm also gonna pass it off to you, Jarret, because I feel like this is your band.
Yeah. So
what a good series of dialogue.
I love that. That's fantastic.
I know this is what Scott Higo wants. He loves dialogue.
I passed the plate around and you guys all spit in it before giving it back to me.
I just imagine like the seventh warrior down in the weeds with like Antonio Banderas when he's fighting with the Vikings, and they're all cleaning their face and like they spit in it and they hand it to him, and it's just like that's just normal. Yeah. And that's what we just did. We just washed our face in this water and just pawned it back off to each other and then gave it to you, Jarret.
That was quite the.
That's graphic. That's interesting.
There, Mark.
So I know this has been floating around there. There is a Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., obviously. But that's kind of been kicked out of the MCU, according to Kevin Feige. So there's a potential that that's what that is.
Get out.
Hold on, go ahead.
I'm just fucking.
You don't belong here.
They just...
Kevin Feige's like, we liked you in the beginning, and then we decided, nah, fam.
Better not.
Out.
So obviously, like, there's that portion of it. People are suggesting that maybe she's a Black Widow, which I think is a load of bull.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I think that remains to be seen. I'm not going to speculate too hard on this one because I don't want to go down another Mephisto situation.
Maybe she's Mephisto.
I think she's. I do think she's like a secret agent or something. Maybe a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. We'll see. Beyond that.
Oh, you're thinking.
Could be S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. I mean, there's so much to this that
I'm not that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is they mentioned sort of the MacGuffin of this episode, which is the watch that was left at the Avengers compound, and they make a point to state that it's somebody close to him that it belongs to. What do we think this is? Because they have talked nothing about this. They showed it once in the first episode, and then have just kind of left it be. Whose watch do we think this is, and what is on it?
And it has to be someone close to him, right? So then we're thinking like it has to be one of the Avengers,
right?
So, and I don't think it'd be Black Widow. It's like I never see her wearing a Rolex, so it's like who does that leave us with? It's probably either Tony or Bruce Banner would be my guess.
Not Steve.
Well, Steve, I don't think Steve was a flashy guy to wear Rolex, but I mean that would track though. That was just my deduction.
Sure, and it could be like a recording device that somebody wore once. There is a comic issue called The Tape, and the MacGuffin in that is there's a tape that shows an Avenger killing somebody. And so my thought is this is a watch that's recorded maybe the assassination that Hawkeye and Black Widow did. Spoilers for Black Widow. Maybe this is a recording of Steve Rogers doing something, and maybe that's been manipulated to look worse than it actually is. This one remains to be seen. For my money, I think it has to do either with Natasha or with Laura. Because they keep bringing her into this, I think maybe his wife did something and that's why it's on there. But she doesn't seem as concerned, so that theory doesn't hold as much water. Any more thoughts on this?
So you're thinking that the watch has something negative against someone else, not against him, but like a recording against someone that has in this, in the limelight, a good rapport, and this would bring more negativity. I think
it would it's something that would absolutely crush the Avengers if it ever released, and it's one of the big ones. That's my opinion.
This could lead down the line to Avengers Disassembled, so maybe.
I would love that.
That's a really creative title.
Thank you. Just thought of it right off the top of my head.
Just thought of that.
Just thought of it. My first thought, and maybe this is like, I don't know anything about any of this, but I was like, is that like a Tony Stark, like Iron Man suit watch? Because he has those.
Oh, that would be sweet.
But like that wouldn't really lead to anything. I don't know.
Unless
I hear Avengers Compound and it's a watch. So.
Unless like Fisk gets his hands on it and we get like a Iron Patriot from the comics where, somebody becomes the mayor of New York and uses the Iron Man suit to terrorize people. All right, we go from this. Sorry, go ahead.
I gotta go back into the weeds one more time.
One more time in the weeds we go.
I hope they divulge in either this series or somewhere else down the line where the Avengers compound was just like left to people to come scavenge it. Like that just seems wild to me that like the government wouldn't come off and quarantine it, or was there like a period of time like right after all the events happened that it was just like up in there because so much crap was going on because half the population returned. Tony died, so all the heroes are just depressed and went on their own ways. Like
that's one of my favorite things that they did in the first Spider-Man when they talked about Vulture as just like they left this crap everywhere, and that's how he made his living, and that's how he became.
And it took like a couple years before the government stepped in. Was like, you can't do this anymore.
I love that so much. Showing some of that behind the scenes. Yeah, good.
If you're right,
good point, Mark.
Hey, with that, thanks for bringing that back up. So yeah, I'm sure something like that probably is happening or has happened.
Right.
Well, I mean, Tony obviously didn't leave any money for any of them because, they can't even, afford to fix a boat.
Right.
So,
they're all broke.
Tony kind of, I've voiced my opinions on Tony on here. Tony, screwed the pooch with
you could also give some of that blame to Pepper.
I was going to say, Pepper Potts is also still alive and is head of the company.
But that's true, but Pepper doesn't care about them. Those aren't her friends.
And also,
she's probably just around those were Tony's friends.
Those are just my deceased husband.
And guess what? Now he's dead.
And I'm
what
sure
if she
a lot
turns
of
into a villain.
I'm sure a lot of financial decisions and writings like wills and trusts and stuff like that changed in the 5 years after the first snap.
Yeah.
So I think that also probably plays into it too. That's been the thought I've been throwing back and forth. Is that's why there's no money to be given because it was all changed up when basically there was no more Avengers. So.
I've ridden this horse, but I just don't get it. You're an Avenger and you're struggling with money. I just think it's a load of BS. That's just my personal opinion. Even if you were a war criminal, you literally saved the universe.
I'm sure there's like Nike would sponsor a superhero. Well,
he says that in goodwill. So
yeah.
And isn't that kind of what Kate's trying to do? It's you gotta brand yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah. Maybe that's what we'll get. We'll get a little bit of what happens in The Boys, where some of these superheroes are being branded.
I'm all in on it.
Yep.
Just make it The Boys.
Go for it.
All right.
Make it The Boys.
We roll from this into a interesting scene with Kate and her family, and she sort of sees the intimacy that Jack shares with her mother, and they have a nice dance. And during this, she notices that Hawkeye is feeling lost and alone without his kids on Christmas, and so that's where we really get Christmas as a character in this series. She goes over to confront him and spend time with him on Christmas under the guise of, hey, we got to plan our next step with these bros. Sorry, go ahead.
And we're still 2 days from Christmas, right? In the series?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
A nice heartwarming moment. They had a few jokes from the comic books in there. The boomerang arrow, which is one of my favorites.
Yep.
It's sort of inversed in the comic books. He has to try to explain to Kate why this is useful. Obviously, we get the opposite of that. And then he teaches her the coin trick, which is famous from the comic books as well. After we roll into this, they do their sort of celebration. And as they're talking, she asks him what his favorite or what his best shot he took was. And he says the famous line that the best shot I ever took was the one that I didn't. Talking about Natasha. An amazing character moment there, and we sort of see the dichotomy that they've been building and sort of what this means for both of them. To Kate, Hawkeye is a symbol, right? It's a thing for people to look up to. It's more than just who Clint is. It's a whole movement and a powerful message. For Clint, Hawkeye is all of the things that he did wrong, right? It's him. He said, I was a weapon and they just aimed me. So they view these as two separate things. And I think this plays out really well. What do you guys think about this whole storyline that they're doing with Kate and Clint, where she is in on, go ahead.
I think it's almost perfect. It's we get that someone who was a child who grew up with these people and obviously probably the media only showed the good stuff. So it's of course to her, Hawkeye is a hero in that sense, obviously because he is a hero. But as Clint is, he's Hawkeye's basically a trained killer. He's probably done a lot, as he kind of alludes, done a lot of stuff he's not proud of, and especially as Ronin, did a lot of things, did a lot of killing. So like to him, he doesn't think Hawkeye should be a symbol of like a hero or whatever, where Kate's in the opposite boat where it's like, yeah, you should, totally brand yourself and make Hawkeye, out into the world and be popular and stuff like that. So,
well, that's always like the interesting thing with Marvel in general in these movies is that they don't like make a very big deal about that these heroes kill people.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's like kind of just washed under the rug and no one really cares. So it's kind of interesting for them to actually deal with those repercussions and actually have a hero like reliving their past, because how many people did Tony probably kill? And like, it's never brought up. It's totally fine. He's totally fine with it.
Tony's PTSD is like entirely about New York City and the aliens. It's never ever about the people.
It's about Tony.
Yeah,
it's about Tony.
And Clint's is like, no, you don't understand the blood that's on my hands and the things that I did when I thought half of the world was gone forever. And
heck, think about. I mean, Steve was in freaking World War II. How many Nazis do you think?
Absolutely.
And I know everyone's all for killing Nazis, but like,
right.
Like,
of course,
of course, like that's the one thing like anyone can kill, and everyone's
hard to argue.
It's fine. They were a Nazi, but like that's an interesting thing that Marvel just does not deal with. Is just these heroes kill people, and it's normal.
Yeah,
and maybe that alludes to the Watch. Maybe that'll be brought up later.
That would make sense because they are dealing with a lot of like Ronan's past death,
and we got a little bit of that in.
Okay, now I do have a thought about the Watches.
Was it Winter Soldier? Which one's the one where, or was it the Ultron movie where Wanda like blows up a portion of that building by trying to throw what's his face?
Well, that was an Age of Ultron, and she like hurt some people, and it made the news, and that
she didn't hurt people, she killed people. They blew up by accident.
That apartment building.
Yeah, but like she killed people, and it made the news, and they were all like. It was a whole.
So, like, what would have to top that for heroes to be like, did like, Bruce Banner go into like a children's hospital, like blow it up or something like that? Like, what could be worse to defame?
Well, what now I'm assuming is on the Watch because I just had this thought is that I bet it's something showing like Hawkeye showing Clint like in the Ronin outfit.
Can I go? Can I go really into the weeds with this one just for a second?
Or him taking off his mask when Natasha
taking off the hood or something
confronted him. And okay,
my guess is
go on, Jarret.
Not my guess. If I could fan cast this and do whatever I wanted with it. We know that She-Hulk is coming up. We also know that Daredevil is coming back into the MCU, right? There is a famous She-Hulk run where there's evidence that Captain America got somebody killed. And She-Hulk and Daredevil face off in the courtroom. She-Hulk is defending Captain America. Daredevil is trying to prove that he got this guy murdered. What if that's what's on the Watch? Is evidence that Captain America got an innocent man killed. Also, if you haven't read that comic, it's fantastic. Go check it out.
But like, and to go farther
Captain
in the weeds.
America isn't around anymore, so what are they
He's on the moon. He's on the moon.
Plus, that's public perception.
Duh.
He's an old man. He's an old man in the comic too. So like,
technically, he's still in that universe somewhere as an old man. Yeah. So
he's an old man in the comic book too. So like, it works.
To go into the other field of the weeds,
please.
Does She-Hulk
there's in the field
use previous comics as her defense because she can four-wall break and has a defense team that uses previous comics how stuff was defended there? Does that happen in She-Hulk?
She does it. She does in her older runs. In the newer runs, they kind of don't do that as much. It's a little more, but yeah, she did that.
I thought that would be funny.
Yeah.
Well, She-Hulk's supposed to be a comedy, so it could happen.
Well, I mean, now if she breaks the fourth wall, then I'm a little more interested. If she's
I think she fourth wall break before Deadpool did. So.
Well, then I wasn't more interested, but then Jarret killed that, so I guess we'll be skipping that.
Okay, let's get out of the
weeds. We were talking before the show about things we need to talk about. We haven't even talked to that the news of Daredevil. Like Charlie Cox is returning as Daredevil. I know, we're talking Hawkeye, but that's
Kevin Feige's got to tell us that before he shows up in this show or in Spider-Man.
Yeah, let's take a 2-second pause because we're halfway through the Hawkeye, and we'll talk just briefly about what you guys think about this news. Mark, go first.
Big news. I say if he's gonna bring Daredevil in, and like Daredevil we see on Netflix, you bring in them all. You bring all the Netflix people, even Iron Fist.
So I'm against this now.
We talked about our percentage,
or you can recast Iron Fist.
What we
but like I want the other ones.
How sure are you that Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be in this?
Oh, that's 100.
Yeah, I mean it'd be pretty.
Like we already
disappointing if you didn't bring him back. His version of Kingpin in.
Like what was that scene where he's like rubbing the like little girl's cheek? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So it's
that's 100% Kingpin.
Yeah. So we knew Kingpin was going to be in this, according to like rumors and speculation on the internet, and this all but puts the nail in that coffin. Vincent D'Onofrio will show up in this series. You can quote me on that in the future. Yeah, I will find him. Fantastic news. I do think we're gonna get more of the Defenders down the line. We'll see about Iron Fist.
I really just want Mike Coulter back as Power Fist. That's really just all. That's the other one I really just want back.
Did you say Power Fist?
Oh my bad.
Power Man.
Power Fist?
Power Man, right? Power Man. My bad. I said Fist, didn't I?
Yeah, you're good. Power Fist. I like that. That's a dope superhero name. All right, we roll forward a little bit. Back to Hawkeye. We roll forward a little bit, and they're kicking off the mission. He sends Kate to go track down his trick arrows. And they end up in Gil's apartment, and they have sort of this interesting interaction with the LARP group. What did you guys think about these guys as like additional characters to this?
I did not see them bringing them back. Like I was a little shocked by that. And they were also like all in on just breaking the law. Like,
and one of them was
that's
a
what
cop.
LARPers
they were
do.
So cool with it. Yeah.
Hey, I got those arrows. I'll go get them for you.
But like, just a random person just came up and was like, "I work with Hawkeye. I need you to like break the law and like risk your job and get me these."
But do you think in this world, if like an Avenger's like, "Hey, you guys have some of my arrows,"
but it wasn't an Avenger.
Kate it was just a chick. Like Kate was the one who started the conversation.
Yeah, but they knew he was there, and they promised. Like she also promised a showing with him. So sure. I think she'd be more willing. I get what you're saying, but
yeah, like a police officer, they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll go break him out."
It was like she didn't even have to like argue. She was just like, "I work with Hawkeye. I need you to give me arrows, and you can meet him."
I love these guys. Okay, cool. And I think I
do too.
I think it's great that it continues to show that difference between Kate and Clint, where she's like, yeah, they're part of the Hawkeye team now. And Clint's like, absolutely not. Screw these guys. The scene is great.
Do you think one of them comes back as like they're a secret hero or something? Or you get the whole LARP team helping out at the end? Like, I just feel like something like that's going to happen.
I would love... What if...
Everyone can't be a hero.
Everyone
can be a hero. That's the MCU.
I love that. All right, we have the short scene with Clint where he tracks down Kazi and has the conversation warning that Maya is chasing a ghost. It basically says if she doesn't back off, she will get hurt. She doesn't know what she's doing. They throw a few jokes in here, but mainly the point of this scene is like he wants her out of the picture and not dealing with this mess. Obviously, that kind of goes by the wayside shortly after that. We shoot forward and we go to the retrieval scene. They break into an apartment to try to find out what's going on. Obviously, Kate sort of jumps the gun and goes in herself, leaving Hawkeye on lookout.
I hate that so much that she's not a teenager. She's like what, 21 or something like that. She's technically an adult.
Yeah.
So like, I just hate that her mentality is of like a rich spoiled kid, which she is. So like, I get it, right. Where she just like can't take direction at all and kind of just like throws a monkey wrench to the whole thing.
She's constantly trying to prove herself to Hawkeye.
I know, and it's just like, ugh.
Like that's the only like thing that kind of saves that moment. But yeah, I was frustrated by it as well. I was like, you're with an Avenger and like
listen to the Avenger.
Listen to the Avenger. Yeah. He just taught you how to knock someone out with a penny. Like maybe we should listen to this guy.
Let this guy do the work. So she goes in. Obviously, the lights start flashing, which we find out pretty quickly is signaling to Echo that somebody's broken into the house. She snatches the watch, and in the process of her fight with Echo, Somebody attacks Clint on the roof, and that whole fight scene breaks out. It shows us that Yelena is involved in this.
Gasp.
And they have their whole fight sequence. Obviously, Clint trying everything he can to get her out of the picture. Kate, that is. And then there's... Actually, let's break down the fight first. What did you guys think of this whole fight scene?
Lackluster.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll be honest.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I've been kind of disappointed in Echo. I'm not gonna I know you really like her, Jarret, but they have not done much with her. She gets in fights, and it's just okay, she's struggling with a 22-year-old martial artist, and I don't know. I'm just not very impressed. If she's supposed to be the big bad or the one that they meet throughout this series, then it's a little bit of a letdown if that's it.
As far as what we've gotten from the other series, obviously Falcon and the Winter Soldier did this better. It is really hard to like this fight. I think it's okay, not great. And with the caliber that we've come to expect from the MCU, it was a bit of a disappointment. I would very much agree with that. We get this scene where
CW-esque. That's bad.
That's not high praise.
You don't want that.
And there is sort of when she gets kicked off the side and he, makes it to where she falls down below and he's like, get out of here. He does the whole scram. And then 2 seconds later, she's back on the roof again because she just goes up the stairs.
It was only a 4-story building.
Yeah, it was so fast. There was no consequence to her falling. It was just scram.
Well, she landed in those lights,
the
basically.
Lights, yeah.
Right, but she wasn't down there very long. She was immediately right back up. So what was the point of that beat?
She's probably got the adrenaline pumping, bro.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying because you're supposed to get the weight of her falling and not getting back there,
right?
And you're leaving Hawkeye to fight by himself. Assuming that's going to lead to something else, but she's just
there. She's just back up.
So there was literally no weight put into him cutting her loose.
Yeah.
At first there was, and it was immediately gone.
So they have their fight, obviously, and then Yelena books it, Echo books it, and he talks about how Kate is now done, right? She's in over her head, and the thing that tips him off is you now have a Black Widow assassin after you. This struck me for a couple reasons. One, he doesn't know who she is. He doesn't understand that there's a connection between her and Black Widow, which is interesting because Black Widow was the only person that knew every secret about Clint. But Clint had no idea who this Black Widow was. And more interesting is he now thinks that Yelena is after Kate, not him. What do we think about this realization?
I think it made Black Widow actually as a movie kind of useful.
Sure. What did you guys think about Black Widow?
Now we know who that character is, and that's it. That's all I care about for Black Widow.
Right.
I love Black Widow. I thought it was a great comic book movie.
I thought it was great too, but I understand the critique even if I don't fully.
It was a few years too late. I think it should have came out.
That's probably my biggest.
It should have came out critique. After Civil War. That's when it should have came out.
If that came out after Civil War, I probably I enjoy it probably quite a bit more. But it came out after the anything that matters happened. So I don't care.
I think Black Widow also would have been better had they fixed Taskmaster, but that's a gripe for another time.
I also agree, but I think that might have been a setup to someone else getting the suit. Right. So
going forward, what do we think is going to happen next? Obviously, they had their spat. Yelena's now involved in hunting down Clint.
Do we know how many episodes there's gonna be? Are we the last 2 episodes? Is there only gonna be 6, or are there gonna be 8?
7. So let me check that real quick.
Because I feel when I've looked, I haven't seen any number. So it's if we know that, it's if there's 8 or 7 episodes, this next one's gonna be a more lead up instead of hey, we're gonna have to finally get to the final crescendo and get a set up the final episode. But
okay, looks like 6 episodes in total. So we're in the final 2.
Okay. Yeah, but then they had a sneaky set extra episode with was it Falcon the Winter Soldier that they didn't tell us about right away?
Like, was there only supposed to be 5 originally? With Falcon
I think they're playing fast and loose with this, and they're kind of just doing whatever. Because obviously, like Kevin Feige told us that all of Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to be an hour long, and that was not the case.
Yeah, it was.
Well, he also said it was going to be an hour long for WandaVision.
Right.
We got
you combine all of the episodes, and then it's about an hour long. I think I don't know what big is going to happen this next episode, but I think we're going to get Echo working under Kingpin. I think that's going to be our big revelation this next episode.
We're getting, I would agree with that. We're getting, because that was the rumors, like episode 5, we're getting Kingpin or Daredevil. So I'm guessing it's going to be Kingpin now at this point.
I'm hoping that the next episode is like just more action than anything. And I want Kate to be absent. I want Clint to just like get slapped around. I want a lot of action.
Ooh, yeah.
And then like some sort of 11th hour appearance of Kate and maybe the LARP team to show that like you can't do this alone. You need the Hawkeye.
They'll get killed.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I would think with this next episode, does anything play in to Spider-Man that would be coming up the following day?
They've been playing this very low, like.
I think that would make sense that they would bring Kingpin in, because I don't think they'll do Daredevil, but I think they would bring Kingpin in, and then the next day it would be Spider-Man, and then if they show Daredevil, then it all connects.
So it kind of just more of that than like something actually tying.
So I'll make this like announcement now. If we get Kingpin tomorrow, we will have Daredevil in Spider-Man.
Because that's what I thought. It's like so like what was it? The end game happened in October, right?
Right.
Isn't that the time? Like the timeline? Is this Christmas, like that same year Christmas, or is it a year later Christmas?
That's a good question.
Because it's got to be this year because the No Way Home or Far From Home one is 6 months after that. So that'd be kind of weird if we've already gone basically a whole year after it. If you follow what I'm saying,
I would assume it's a year because like the world is already like back together and they have like the Rogers musical and everything. Like,
but that could have already been in the works.
Yeah. Plus, if they don't,
the world's like working already. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
So Spider-Man obviously leads into Multiverse of Madness, and if those stakes are so big, if something happens in Multiverse of Madness and they don't mention it in Hawkeye like a few months later, obviously like that's a big mess up. So my guess is this is right after.
Dude, this just spotted my head. Just like in that Venom movie. What if like the Kingpin that's in this universe like phases and turns into Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin?
I would love that.
Like that would be a tie-in.
I would love it.
There you go.
I think that's too deep.
Boom, write the check.
A little too deep. I don't think people would get it.
It's too deep.
It's too deep.
I would have to watch the second Venom movie to understand this reference.
Yeah, I don't think Marvel is banking on people seeing the second Venom movie yet.
To understand this one.
I haven't seen it.
Whatever, Doc.
It's not for you.
Was it good? What was your rating on Let There Be Carnage? Let's throw that out there. Because Max won't let you talk about it when he's on.
Yeah, hey, this is your time to shine. Tell us all about Venom.
Well, I think Venom 2, isn't as good as the first Venom.
It's not as good as the first one?
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, no.
I thought the first one was trash.
Oh, really? Have you not seen the second one yet?
I haven't seen the second one.
Oh, well, I thought it was serviceable. I'd give it a 4.5. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen. It's definitely better than the Goofy movie.
I just want to see it for Woody Harrelson as a villain.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You just say it was better than the Goofy movie?
Yeah, better rating.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you?
What are you? Okay, guys, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. What a monster!
You chose violence, my guy. My goodness,
I always
that is
violence.
Ridiculous.
Unhinged.
That's the dumbest thing.
Whatever,
really dumb
whatever, bro.
takes,
Grow up.
All right, let's put a cap on Hawkeye because I'm getting
Infinity Bros disassembled.
Yeah. Give me your rating for this episode. I'll start with mine. I think it's a 5 out of 6. I think it was lacking some things. Mark, what is your rating of this episode?
I'd give it a 5.2. Kind of the same thing, lacking some things. I thought the fight scenes can be better in my, just going through Falcon Winter Soldier, but that's probably not what I should expect out of this show. I think we're getting more of like a drama than an action, but it is what it is.
Robbie?
I'm going to give it a 4.7.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right.
like the whole fight scene was very CW-esque.
He's not like the other girls. Then, he's different.
He's not like the other guys. He's different. He has different ideas. And then like we mentioned it, but there's an Avenger in your living room, and it's like totally normal. And then like the cop that just like breaks the law.
Yeah,
like there's those little things that like they have to do to make the story go. But like I can watch and be like,
but that would happen in the comic book. Like you gotta stop basing it in what would happen in real life. Like this is a comic book show.
Marvel wants
comic book
elements. Marvel wants to be all about like keeping up to dates on current trends. So I guess cops breaking the law is one of them.
There's a freaking elf or dwarf or whatever the thing in Eternals. Like we got one of those. Pip or whatever his name is.
Pip.
Yeah, we're not dealing in real world stuff anymore.
Hey, speaking of Eternals, I finally saw Eternals.
Save it for the hot snot. Hold on.
Oh, we're doing hot snot?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, you know what? Let's just do it. Robbie, hot and snot. Go.
Are we just...
Wait, hold on. Bumper.
No.
Hot or snot?
Go.
Okay. Hot or snot? I'll do... Ooh, where do I put Eternals? I would hot Eternals. I think it was better than what I expected it to be. But I think I left with more questions than answers, which I think is kind of what they want anyway. Wasn't really surprised by the villain turnout at the end. I leaned to Jessica and told her that he was going to be the villain, like the first time we saw them back in the real world. I really enjoyed some of the character interactions. I think those characters have a lot of fun things to do, but like they're just an old Justice League. So
sure.
I mean, if they want an old Justice League with really large like Celestials, well, there you go. You did it. Well done, Marvel.
Congrats.
You did it. I'd give it a 4 out of 6. So like it's watchable. There's some entertaining moments. Max thought I was gonna hate it, which I was a little offended by. Like I don't know why I would hate it. It's just the Justice League.
Sure.
But no, it was enjoyable. I would watch it again.
That's good.
Am I just gonna keep going?
Yeah, just keep going with your hot and snot.
Okay, and then my another big hot for me, and obviously if you follow us on anything, you've seen that I'm posting all the time and streaming all the time. But just Halo, I'm my wife hates me the last 2 weeks. My kids don't know my name. Yeah. They just say, "That guy in the room, who is that?"
That handsome man with the controller.
I've been playing a lot of Halo, nice. And I am just so happy to have like a good Halo back in my life.
Yeah.
Playing through the campaign now on our Twitch channel, rocking it in multiplayer. I'm just so happy to have Halo back.
We're happy for you, Robbie.
You know, I wish my friends could play with me. That's my biggest
PC
thing.
wasn't garbage and I could play with
I wish Zane would like buy into actually being a gamer and like go buy an Xbox so he could play Halo.
Zane, stream this with Robbie. Get a stream set up finally. The fans demand it. Scott Higa
Zane,
messages me every morning and he says, "Is today the day, Papa?" And I say, "No. Zane has rejected you once more."
It's not the day, son. Today's not the day.
Is that all your hot and snot, or you got anything else for us?
You know, I really didn't think about this too much.
How embarrassing.
So I think that's kind of all
you can
I
blame
have.
it on
anything else, I'll interject later because that's just kind of what I do.
All right, Mark, what do you got for us?
Well, you know, I've wanted to save this for our 100th episode that's coming up, in a month. But I just want to say this because it's going to be a snot, and they're not here to defend themselves.
Yes.
So it'll be good to get out into the ether and then them to scramble.
Yes.
So I'm catching up on my Christian Nerd podcast.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Okay.
And
I think.
And Scott had mentioned that both Isaac and Max had thanked him in one form or another about Ted Lasso to getting them onto Ted Lasso. And I'm like, bleep, bleep, bleep. I talked about these guys about Ted Lasso after I watched it because I was the first Infinity Bro to have Apple TV.
Yeah.
And like to no response, and then Scott has to watch it, and then tells these guys to watch it, and then they finally watch it. So it's like, just don't care about my opinion.
Yeah.
Mark wants his day.
So I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, and I'm like, listen to Scott say this. I was like, I'm like livid, losing my mind.
That's the type of petty that I aspire to be.
Yeah.
This is kind of indicative of our friend group, though, because like Mark always comes out with like the bangers, and he's like, "Hey, you guys got to get on this," and then nobody listens to him, and then
it's like a month or two later, then someone else watches it in the group, and they're like, "Oh, guys, we got to watch it."
How did nobody tell us about this? Yeah, that sounds about right. Do you have any other?
So that's my only hot or my snot. For hot. Gosh, I don't know if anything's like I got Vanguard, the Call of Duty Vanguard. That's been fun. I feel like I have no time, so it's like I bought that. Well, I was told by one of our friends, mutual friends, that it's just like Modern Warfare or Call of Duty, World at War. So I'm like, okay, that's back when I used to play Call of Duty and liked it.
Is that the one true Robbie that gave you the recommendation?
The one that has the full name, that owns the full name of Robbie Robert. Yes. So I'm like, okay, I'll get back into this, and I just feel like I never have time to play video games, and I'm thinking, still more Scott Higa words into my head. Like once I have the baby, I'm gonna have no time. So it's like I gotta catch up on this Vanguard stuff. So that's where I'm at.
I've been middling reviews about that. I've heard the zombie mode is fantastic.
I liked it.
The story mode is garbage, and the multiplayer is pretty good.
Yeah, I probably won't play the campaign, but
that makes sense.
So far, I've had fun playing it. I would say I guess I'll go to hot. I've been rewatching the Disney Plus Marvel shows again. Still love them all. WandaVision still on top.
Wow.
But I just finished up Loki, and I'm thinking, I think we're gonna find out in Loki that the plan all along obviously was for Sylvie and Loki to overthrow that version of Kang.
Right.
So because I think a different Kang was helping out Renslayer. So
I went back and watched Loki, and that one holds up. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it even the second time around. I would, if you're going to watch Spider-Man, obviously in the next couple weeks or this week actually, go watch Loki.
Loki's definitely a must watch.
You have to. Is that all your hot and snot, Mark?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? Oh, my hot. I guess another hot would be Christmas is coming up too. So
love that.
I don't know if I'm getting out of that episode.
6 out of
so
6.
we all love Christmas. Hot. Yeah, 6 out of 6 Christmas. There you go.
I have two hots to add.
Sure.
Because I'm just
hot.
This is what I do. Hot. The Guardians of the Galaxy game. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast yet.
I want to say Isaac did, but maybe not. He's been talking about it in chat.
I don't think he ever got it, actually. I think he was talking about getting it, but so I bought this on Black Friday. The game's awesome. Like it's what the Avengers game should have been. It's just a linear storyline. You play as the Guardians, and there's a lot of really fun back and forth. Like it is a blast to play, and it's quick missions. They're all fun and unique. Game is just awesome. The other hot is PlayStation is reportedly going to try to make a competitor to Xbox's Game Pass.
Yes, that's right.
I have said on this podcast that maybe not on the podcast, on the stream, I have said that Xbox Game Pass, specifically the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, is the best thing in video games.
Absolutely.
Like there's nothing that compares to what Game Pass gives you, because just this last month we had Halo Infinite, a $60 game for free, Forza 5, a $60 game for free, and Back 4 Blood, a $40 game for free. And that's just like the big headliners.
Like per month?
I think it's $120 a year or something like that.
And you just get these games for free, like to download into your library and play them whenever you want?
It's PlayStation Plus, but like with a ton of games.
It's like PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now had a baby, but also put good games on there.
Yeah, which is like the only way PlayStation can compete is if they make PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus like all one thing and bring the price way down, because PlayStation Now is still more expensive, I believe.
I think it's like $15 a month, and you don't get new games. It's a lot of.
And I believe the Xbox Ultimate Pass is $12 a month if you did it by month.
Yeah.
But they give out brand new games like every other month or so.
Yeah.
So if you buy 2 games a year, Xbox Game Pass is
worth the price. Absolutely.
So that's my big hot, and I'm hoping that PlayStation can compete because I'm more of a PlayStation guy at heart, unless it's Halo. So I hope that PlayStation can make something that's competitive, because it would be hard to get me to, like, because I don't want to pay for both really. It would be hard to get me to switch right now to go to anything else.
I understand that. All right, my hot is I finally got around to watching Castlevania on Netflix.
Ooh, yeah, tell me about it.
I'm only barely into the first season, but man, do I love this. It is not at all what I expected. The storyline is fantastic. The voice acting is great. The art style is fairly impressive. I'm really enjoying it. I think we had Tomer from MTG Goldfish on here who talked about it a little bit. And I've just been hearing good things about it. So I was like, well, we'll dip my toe in. I don't really have a good show to watch right now while I'm waiting for Hawkeye episodes. And man, I'm loving it. On the flip side of that coin, Netflix's live action of Cowboy Bebop. Did you catch this, Robbie?
I have started it. I've tried not to like listen to too many people because I don't know Cowboy Bebop that well.
Okay.
I didn't watch that as a kid, so it's all very new to me.
One episode into that, and I'm also kind of in the same boat. I watched some of it on Toonami when I was little, so that's about it.
Yeah, I caught glimpses of it on Toonami, and I enjoyed episode 1. I've heard a lot of negative feedback on it, but I'd love to hear your take on
it. I'm not enjoying this at all. There are there are parts that
this is crap.
I think the casting for Jet was fantastic. Actually, I think the casting across the board was fantastic, except for Ed. But Ed doesn't really translate well into live action. Yeah, it's like a lot of the writing. I think you have to. There's an inherent risk in converting an anime to live action, which is like some things just don't work live action. And I think Ed, with all the eccentricities, just doesn't work live action, especially the way that they did it. And man, this series did not do it for me. I know we talked to the Geek Nation guys on Facebook quite a bit, and I think more than a few of them liked it. So maybe this is just, it's not for me, but yeah, I was not a fan and not enjoying this.
See, I'm surprised because I almost think like if you haven't watched the anime at all, like maybe you enjoy this.
I'm hoping so, and like
because I really enjoyed episode 1. I don't know about you, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you're coming with a blank slate to this, it's fun. Like what's that one game, the Monster Hunter, that you guys liked?
Oh yeah.
And like I enjoyed that movie.
Oh, that movie.
And never. Yeah, exactly. I never played the game. I
also played the games religiously.
So like it just depends on how it hits you, and maybe the right attitude you have, or mentality going into stuff. Because
I could be taking this way.
That's how everything kind of works.
That's probably on me, but yeah, for my money, I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
My other snot. So Isaac has been playing this on stream. It's I think it's Godsend or Godfall. What's the name of the
Godfall?
Yep. It's the free PlayStation Plus game. They give you like a diminished version of it. You don't actually get the full version of the game with PlayStation Plus, which was a miss. And then it didn't look that fun to me. There was a lot to be done in the menus, which I'm not a fan of unless it's like Monster Hunter and I've already committed the time to learning that system. And then just like the fact that you can't progress unless you buy the full game, it kind of just starts you in the end game, was pretty meh for me. Obviously, Isaac was fantastic to watch that stream, but I enjoyed the dialogue that we had about buying vacuums over watching him play that game. And obviously, not a discredit to Isaac; he did fantastic. But yeah, it didn't hit it for me.
Weird.
Yeah,
it looks cool. Like that's one of those games where like the poster
looks fantastic.
Maybe looks better than the game actually is.
Mortal Shell, which is the other one that came with that, is like it's a Dark Souls-esque game, and that one I played literally a couple minutes of, and I'm already hooked on the idea of it. It's not enough to pull me away from my Dark Souls 3 grind that I've been on, but still looks fantastic.
I'm snotting you still playing Dark Souls.
It's so I have to get it out of my system because I want to play Elden Ring and I can't till February.
Fair enough.
So that's sort of where we're at with that. Anything else from you guys before we get rolling with the...
Yes, I actually did think of another one.
Please and thank you.
The Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie trailer came out, and it was excellent. I don't know we've talked about the Sonic movie on here, I believe.
Yeah.
And Sonic might be the only good video game movie
I loved it.
Ever?
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to think of other good video, because like that's a thing, like where video game movies struggle to be good. Like Sonic was at least good. Like it wasn't like an amazing movie, but like I probably watched it quite a few times. My kids really enjoy it. The second trailer, or the first trailer for the second one, was awesome. Like you got to see Tails, Knuckles, Dr. Robotnik.
Right?
Eggman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eggman is back, and he's got the big mustache. Jim Carrey, is back in that role, and it looks hilarious, and I can't wait for it.
Have you guys seen the internet just like it's literally just people thirsty over Idris Elba and asking like how and this is peak like internet culture, asking like how sensual Knuckles is gonna get. Like that's just the end. Like why?
Because they heard his voice behind Knuckles, and like
that poor man,
generation of people like were awoken to like the furry ideology.
It's the whole
dang it, Robert.
It's his line from The Office where he's like, "Yeah, I understand the effect that I have on women." That's like peak Idris Elba.
That's like Henry Cavill to me.
One more like tangentially related thing. It's been announced that 007, all they care about is that it is a British, I believe they said it was a British man. Let me double check that. Beyond that, there's no like prerequisite.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much on the point.
Which is interesting because they specifically said, I should probably double check this quote, but I believe they specifically said it was a man. But I'm interested to see like how they change the 007 formula going forward. And one of the fan castings that I've seen is obviously Henry Cavill, but Idris Elba is also high on the list.
No, man. The dude from Bridgerton. That's what you do.
I don't know what that is.
I just want a really skinny like Alan.
I would just imagine your wife watched that show. Yeah. My bad.
She did, but I didn't watch it.
Oh, hey, my bad. I guess I didn't watch it either.
I want like a not
sure
like. I mean, Alan Redmayne's actually not that bad looking of a guy, but like he's not a big stocky dude.
So Henry Cavill was actually already in like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is like opposite
basically
007. Like so, I wonder
adjacent.
Yeah, I wonder if they'd like.
And that movie was good. Like that's another movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
He was also in Superman, but that's not going to stop me from throwing him as a Sentry or Hercules.
Sure. Oh my gosh, Hercules!
Depends on
my
if he has a mustache or not.
That's who he should be.
Okay, hold on. Hercules.
We're going too long. Max is gonna hate us.
I know. Screw Max. Let's keep going. This is what the fans
This
want.
Is the Henry Cavill episode.
Yeah. Okay. Henry Cavill is Hercules, and then give us Amadeus Cho Hulk. Bam. That's all I want.
Yeah. There it is.
Who would play him though?
That buddy cop movie. I have no idea. Oh dang. I was about to say the boy from Shang Chi, but obviously like that's the dumbest thing I could say.
See, my mind instantly went to the big dude in Eternals, the guy that protects Athena or Athena, sorry,
Gilgamesh, right?
Gilgamesh. I think if you're gonna do Amadeus Cho, you have to do it with somebody young. That's true. There's an actor on Netflix. Gosh, I got to think of what the name of those movies are. They're like cheesy chick flick movies. I think he was in.
We could just bring the kid from Avatar in.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
The kid
Jarret.
from like 13 Reasons Why. He's the like.
Yes, and he's also in like the Stupid Love. Like, there's two of them.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
He's
People
like
know who
really,
you're talking about. So
buff. I think he's Filipino. Oh my gosh, I feel bad if I get that wrong, but he's a fantastic actor, and I would.
He's actually Caucasian.
It's just a white guy. just really tan. Jeez, Jarret.
He would do. I think he would do phenomenal in this.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be a good cast.
All right. Gosh, we're so off the rails. Hey, Max. Thanks for editing.
Let's wrap it up.
Screw you.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Before we end,
yes.
One more thing. This is going to tie into we'll transition to ending.
Thank you.
Infinity Bros Universe, be on the lookout. We're going to do some giveaways.
Oh.
We'll probably do like, some just Q&A stuff that's on like Twitter. You just, we put out a question, you answer it, and you get put into a thing. We draw a name, and then you get something. We'll post what we're giving away.
Mark,
because
we can do a wheel spin on the Twitch stream.
And we can do that too, so we could set it up that way. But yeah,
I just set that up.
Infinity Bros universe. Be on the lookout for some giveaways happening to get yourself entered in. And yeah, that's all I got with that.
All right, make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on TikTok. All the social medias. Make sure you are prepared for January 2nd. We have our 100th episode that will be live on twitch.tv/the_infinities_bros. That is 8 p.m. Central. Look forward to our next episode. We have one episode between then and now. Catch our streams. Robbie has been busy like pretty much every night that he's free. I normally do Team Rocket Tuesday. I didn't tonight because we were recording. And check out Isaac early in the mornings for Thrifty Thursday. Be sure to look out for the giveaways as well.
Isaac has a new camera as well, so he's going to be looking pretty dang nice on Thursday. You're definitely going to want to check that out.
People will not be able to handle it.
It's the upgrade between you and you and Isaac has been, you guys just like exponentially get better and better setups. Meanwhile, like my setup has been good and then bad, and then good and then bad.
Guy?
But yeah, check these guys out. They do phenomenal Twitch streams. Mine is getting better because I've been resetting it up with the help of these guys. But check us out on Twitch. Infinity Bros fans, thank you for listening. However you're listening. We love you 3000. Have a fantastic evening. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Infinity Bros. Feel free to send listener feedback via email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.